Hey, what's up everyone? It's Noah and I'm back again with a deck profile for my Megacolony deck updated with the clan selection support. So this is a really cool deck and a lot of fun. I've been trying to make Gredora work since she came out. It was one of my favorite units from back in premium days. So when she came out, I was really excited for her to be playable, but I thought that the deck was really lacking. It has some just unwinnable matchups when it's just straight Gredora because cradles don't work on every deck. So I was waiting for a secondary unit that would really work. I tried Gun and Colio, but it just didn't feel right. But now that we got the support with Venom Stinger, I think it's the perfect blend of the two decks, and it's a really nice control deck, which I just don't think we have enough of in Vanguard ever. So this really is just one of my favorite decks to play currently. So I'm going to walk you through it, and I think my list is pretty unique. I haven't seen any other lists like this, so I'm going to try to explain all of my choices and hopefully they all make sense to you. So obviously the starter doesn't matter what you play. I guess I'll do the triggers first. I'm actually running 8 draw trigger in this deck. And the reason for it is you really want to see all of your pieces. You want to have a very sturdy hand size. And also with Venom Stinger stealing the effects of your opponent's triggers, most decks don't run 8 draw. Most decks run 8 crit or more. So you're gonna probably run into crits more often from the opponent's deck than a draw. So running the 8 draw doesn't really take away your offense because Venom Stinger can probably proc a crit trigger from your opponent. And I'll get into Venom Stinger's effect a little bit later, but essentially he makes the opponent damage check and then steals those checks as if you check them. So since most decks, like I said, will be running crit, you can kind of get away with running more draw in here and not totally losing your aggression because you'll still probably be hitting crits from the opponent's damage checks. So that combined with the fact that I want a beefy hand with this deck, 8 draw seems great. I might lower it to 6 draw and then do 6 crit, but the 8 draw has been working. I haven't been decking myself out. Venom Stinger also helps prevent that. And I don't know if you guys watched the last video, but if you really want to see the deck in action, definitely go check that out because it was a really grindy match, but you really got to see everything it can do. So anyway, so 8 crit, or 8 draw rather, 4 crit, and then the 4 heal. And like I said, that's really been working for me so far, so I have no complaints in that department. Moving on to grade 1s, 4 of the grade 3 searcher, you just really want to make sure you're seeing the grade 3 you want to see, because again, not every matchup is good for Gredora, so if you don't want to see her and you want to just go right into Venom Stinger, you want to make sure you can see it. Yeah, so basically just to guarantee you're seeing the grade 3 you want to see. Then we have a new unit. This card is amazing. I just love him. The High Class Moth. So basically in Deck and Soul, he operates as a grade 3, which is really cool because you can search him out with your grade 1, which is the card I just showed, that searches grade 3s. Also, you can call him out with Gredora's skill. He works as a grade 3 in the Soul for Venom Stinger skill. So it's a great card. And he has a cool counter charge ability that also blocks Intercept, which is nice and helps you recycle normal units back to your deck. So that also helps prevent deck out, but also gives you resources for pulling from the deck with cards like Gredora. So he's just all around really good. He keeps your machine operating. He's just really important, and I wouldn't want to run him at less than 4. And then I'm running more counterchargers because this deck does counterblast a lot. You really want to have your counterchargers available. So Butterfly Officer is just a solid countercharge unit that I think we've been playing in Megacolony since he's come out. I think every Megacolony deck I've played since, oh gosh, since Hercules, back like in the first iteration of Megacolony, I think has been running this in V. And then we have this Stealth Millipede, which is great. And this was a promo that was very tough to get for a while, but now it's not because it got reprinted. But basically, if it doesn't hit, it stuns everything in the same column as it. And then if it does hit, it goes into your soul and you countercharge. So either way, you're getting something out of him. And he's really annoying because a lot of times they don't want it to hit and then they lose a column basically, or they have to call over a column. So you can really set up interesting plays with him. He's really annoying and again, just adds to that control aspect of this deck. But again, they both have countercharging, which is very important with this deck because again, there's a lot of counterblasting. So then for grade 2s, we have another grade 3 searcher, Machining Mantis, just on place, Vanguard, Rearguard, Counterblast, look at top 6 for a grade 3, put it into your hand, and he gets plus 6k. Pretty straightforward. Again, you want to see the grade 3s you want to see, you want to make sure you're setting up your turns properly, and he does that great, and it can be, any grade 3, not a specific one, so just a really solid card. Then I'm running some Gredora support. This is Sticky Bolus. This card's amazing. You can combo it with another grade 3 we're running and get it to operate its skill twice, which means you're going to be drawing a lot more cards, which again is great, bulky hand. And it can be a big swinger too. So it's got an on-play skill. I don't often use that skill. Usually I see my Gredoras between the grade 3 Searcher and the Mantis, but if you really need to find her, you can look with her with that skill, look for her with that skill. But again, it's a counterblast. We have a lot of counterblasting in this deck, and I just usually don't even need to use that first skill. But the second skill, however, is amazing. So when it attacks, you Soul Blast a card, and she gets plus 6k for each cradled unit on your opponent's field. So usually that'll be plus 12k. And then if her power is 20k or more, you draw a card. And with 2 cradled units, it will be 21. So that will let you draw a card. And then you can restand her with our other grade 3 skill and then proc it again. Again, you just need the soul available, but there is a lot of units that go into the soul or soul charge, so you should be able to do that okay, at least a couple times. And yeah, she's just really solid, big swinger, and the opponent always wants her off the board, so they will waste resources on her for sure. And then the other grade 2 I'm running is just another sort of control card, Nasty Smog. So basically anything in the same column as him can't intercept, and then the unit in the back row of the same column as him can't stand. So again, it's just another annoying stun card that's very free, doesn't actually cost you anything. Again, if you really want to see it in action and see how good it can be, definitely check out the last game, because I was able to kind of shut down an Angel Feather player because I was setting these guys up in the right columns where they couldn't intercept from the back row and they couldn't intercept period, and that was shutting down a lot of their effectiveness of their force or of their protect 2s. So yeah, so this card's just really good. Again, it's free. It's one of the only cards that is super free, and yeah, it's just annoying to be on the field. The opponent's gonna always want to get rid of it. I was thinking of putting other cards that did, counterblast, soul blast, draw cards, or make the opponent mill cards, and I was kind of going through them all, but again, the resources are really tough to manage. You don't really want to be doing soul blasting and counterblasting if you don't have to, and I just thought controlling the field was a little bit more important because it just shuts down the opponent's plays, and yeah, so this was my choice. And then for grade 3s, we have Venom Stinger. This is a new grade 3. This is really the card that makes this deck, I think, playable now, because this is a great alternate grade 3. It's also a good finisher. So if your opponent's taking damage during the turn, he gets plus 10k. That's just a given with his skill, which is great. And then his on attack is you counterblast 1, put a unit into your soul, and then for the rest of the turn, all of the effects of the triggers that your opponent, or for the rest of the battle, for all the effects of the triggers that your opponent would check become your effects. So that's just the crazy part of the skill, and I kind of explained that in the beginning with the reasoning why I use the draw triggers, because the opponent will more likely check a crit trigger, since that's probably the trigger they're running the most of in their deck, and so you'll get those crit effects, plus you can keep drawing, so you're not, because that's always the problem, right, with running a lot of draws, is you're not putting out as much aggression because you're not getting those crit effects, but when the opponent can check them for you, why not draw as well? So the second part of that skill is you Soul Blast to grade 3 and then heal 2 of the opponent's damage, and the opponent does 2 damage checks. So even if they haven't taken damage yet, that'll make them take damage, and then that just ups you hitting their triggers, and also helps mill them out a little bit. So yeah, so just a really good card, and just a scary card really all around, because especially late game, you can also really mess with OTT players with this card, because they'll be stacking the top of their deck probably with triggers. Now they have to play around you maybe activating this skill, so you can kind of play some mind games with them. And there's other decks too that stack, so anything that does that is really fun to mess around with. And then even decks that are deck thinning, like lots of decks like, I don't know, Royals or Golds or Shadows or something that like pulls from the deck, they're thinning their deck down a lot, so they want to hit their triggers, and then those triggers become your triggers. So it's, I don't know, just stealing triggers is awesome because I think we all kind of hate triggers to some degree, even though it's like what makes Vanguard Vanguard. I think we all kind of just get frustrated with lucky defensive triggers. So the fact that he just steals them for you is just awesome, because nothing's better than seeing the opponent hit a heal or hit a crit and you just absorb that effect into your unit. So really good. And I'm running him at 3 because we don't really need 4. We're running plenty of other grade 3s. Then obviously 3 Ghidorah. This skill is cool. The Cradle effect is cool. If you don't know what Cradles do, basically her skill is Counterblast 1. You choose 2 of the opponent's rear guards, you Cradle them. And what a Cradle is, it's a marker that just goes over the card that makes it lose essentially everything but its name. They can't boost, they can't intercept, their power becomes 0, they lose their effects, and they're just kind of on the board. And the opponent can call over them. It's not like a lock or anything, but it definitely shuts the unit down. The only thing, like I said, it keeps is the name, which for some decks is good because they just need it to have the name. Like I'm thinking of Blade Master. But, you know, again, the units are basically just the names on the board. So, and again, that procs the Sticky Boluses, the grade 2's skill. When they're cradled, she gets plus 6k for each one. If they don't remove those units and then you Gredora again the following turn, then Sticky Bolus is getting even bigger, so there's pressure for the opponent to remove those units. And then the best part of that skill is when they do remove the unit with the Cradle on it, you search your deck for the same grade as the unit removed and put it into your hand. So again, it's just more drawing. So you can really thin your deck out with this strategy, and you'll be hitting all your triggers, and if the opponent tries to do that, you'll steal them. So it's kind of just awesome. I usually like to go into Gredora first because she's a great opener. If the opponent's being like a punk and doesn't want to set up a board for you to Cradle, then you can just go into the, you know, our other grade 3 and punish them for that. That's the beauty of this, is they can't really just play around Gredora and give you the middle finger and then you have to just accept it, especially matchups like against Granblue or something where they just don't have a board. Then Cradle is totally useless, but then you just go into the secondary strategy. So that's what I like, is the versatility of this deck. Most decks are affected by Cradle though. There's a lot of decks that are gonna have targets. I feel like even especially with how aggressive it seems the meta's gotten, people just throw boards down even on turn 2. So even if you ride to 3 first, there's probably gonna be units for you to Cradle. And again, if not, you just shift the strategy and then ride into her when you can Cradle things. If that moment arises. But yeah, usually she's my first Vanguard that I'll go into, and then I take it from there and try to close it out with Venom Stinger. The other grade 3 I'm running is, this card's just amazing. I mean, he goes with Venom Stinger and he goes with Gredora. So he has a skill from the drop zone. At the end of the battle that your Vanguard attacked, you can counterblast 1 and call him to rearguard. So it's an extra attack, and we love a multi-attack. And then the second skill it has is when placed, you can Soul Blast 1, you restand a rear guard, and then this unit gets plus 10k. So you can, for Gredora's skill, I mean, an example turn would be something like, let's say you have Sticky Bolus, you've got things cradled, you have some other random unit here, so you would swing with Sticky Bolus, you Soul Blast, get her skill, draw your card, swing with this unit, whatever, or swing with this unit, swing with Sticky Bolus, doesn't matter. Then you swing with Gredora, you pop this unit, search your deck for him, call him out. When he gets placed, you Soul Blast a card, restand her, and then this gets 10 for getting called from Gredora, this gets 10 from his own skill, Gredora gets plus 10, and then you have everything. So if you have more soul, you can even do this again. So yeah, so that's like a combo turn with that, and then a combo turn with him would be, let's say you have this as your field, and sure, we'll go with, let's try Machining Mantis and some sort of a booster. Let's do it like that. So you could maybe do something like swing at an intercept, get that out of the way, swing at Vanguard if you can hit, or another rear guard or something. You know, it depends what your board is, but just so you can show you the order of the turn here. You'll swing with this, counter blast, eat something, and then you can do the second part of the skill, Soul Blast your grade 3. He goes to the damage zone now. you'll do the skills with the stealing the triggers at the end of the battle that he's done. You can then proc him, counterblast 1, call him back, soul blast 1, restand this, and now he's plus 10k, so this is 22, and then you can swing again. You know, so there's all these multi-attack combos in this deck that are just really, really dope, which adds to pressure, but it also has just this heavy control element to it because you're stealing triggers with your Venom Stinger, you are cradling, you're messing with the opponent's board with Gredora, also with this, and then you have the restander who restands, you know, gets you multi-attacks. Again, Sticky Bolus is great because it's drawing you cards, and then the rest is kind of just in support of that. I mean, you could also make the argument that the Millipede is also another control element because it can stun the opponent's board as well. So these cards are really just like the bread and butter, I think, of the deck. And then everything else is kind of in support of either finding cards or countercharging you stuff. And again, we can't forget about our boy, High Class Moth. He's a great, just versatile card that just continues to support all of this. So that's pretty much the deck. I hope I explained it well. This might be kind of long, but it was a little bit of an involved deck, and I wanted to show off kind of how a turn could play out so you guys can see that. I hope you all enjoyed it. The only card I was thinking of maybe putting in here that I didn't put in already is Machining Hornet. So his skill is on boost or on his attack. If he hits, you search top 6 for a grade 3 and put it into your hand. If he's on rear guard, he then goes into the soul. So I was actually thinking of possibly taking out the grade 3 searcher, maybe dropping him by 2 and putting 2 of these in, just because this will soul charge, and then if it's on rear guard, and then that helps you because you do need soul in this deck. So I'm debating on maybe putting him in, but I haven't decided for sure yet. So I just wanted to let you guys know that's something I'm considering, maybe something you would want to consider as well. So that's it for this deck profile, and yeah, that's pretty much all. If you like the video, like, comment, and subscribe, and I'd be curious to know what you think about this deck, or if you have a different list. You could definitely go with Gunning Colio and Venom Stinger and drop the Gredora line and just go with a real mill strategy, but I really love Gredora, so that's why I went with her. But yeah, so that's it, and thanks for watching, and we'll see y'all next time.